The Boston Celtics will win the 2023 NBA championship. Welcome to the Put 'em on a Poster podcast. If you're new to the channel, my name's Chandler, and let's just get straight to the video today, man. So we had a crazy game tonight, man. The Boston Celtics played the Brooklyn Nets, and this game wasn't close. I mean, obviously, Brooklyn is missing the very best player on their team, and arguably a top 5, top 10 player in the league, and Kevin Durant. But, you expect Brooklyn to at least somewhat compete with this team. Brooklyn's still the 4 seed right now. Yes, just as I previously mentioned, Kevin Durant didn't play. Kevin Durant hasn't been playing. But, you expect this game to at least be somewhat close. This game wasn't close. This game started out with an ass whooping, and it ended with an ass whooping. It was bad. Brooklyn, they started off slow, and Boston took advantage of it. They started off with like a 37-9 lead against the Brooklyn Nets. Starting off in that kind of situation, yes, you see some teams, they have the knack of being able to come back and get in the games and maybe take it back. But the way Boston played tonight, there was no chance that they ever did. Boston started off 8 of 8 from 3. They were just incredible tonight. And Boston's missing some players themselves. Marcus Smart didn't play tonight, who is their starting point guard. And he hasn't been playing. It's just, you look at Boston right now, and you look at what they did last season. They made the finals. Ultimately they lost to the Warriors. But Boston's at this point where the last season they were inexperienced. They don't have that championship experience. Now they do. Now they have that experience of, hey, we lost in the finals. We're going to come back, and we're going to go get that this time. And I think this season, the Boston Celtics are my front runners for the NBA Finals. You look at tonight's game. This game was just, it's like what I said before. It was a straight butt whooping. The Celtics shot 57% from the field. They shot 48% from 3. They dominated the glass. They had 57 rebounds, 46 defensive rebounds. They were just insane. They were passing the ball great tonight too. They had 28 team assists. This was just a straight up beautiful game tonight for the Boston Celtics. And you look at the Brooklyn Nets stat lines. They shot 40% from the field tonight. You're not winning a game shooting 40% from the field. If you do, then that means your defense played amazing, and their defense did not play amazing tonight. You look at their stat line right now. You got most of these guys have negative 20s on the night for their box score. And in case you don't understand what plus minus is and what all that, plus minus pretty much means if you have a plus on your plus minus, that means you are outscoring, or when you're on the court, this is how many points you're outscoring the other team by. And if you have a negative, this is how much points the other team is outscoring you while you're on the court. And you look tonight at some of the bigger players. Kyrie Irving, negative 31. So he got scored by 31 points when he was on the court. And this guy's an NBA All-Star. And Brooklyn, like what I said, they're missing Kevin Durant, but just, this team, they did not play good tonight. They're missing Kevin Durant. Ben Simmons did not play tonight either. So, obviously, this game was just, they were missing 2 of their bigger guys. But, this game, it wasn't close. They only, even in terms of rebounding and assists, they only had 32 rebounds on the night. They had 19 assists. They weren't really passing the ball around. And you only had 3 guys that got into double digits. You had Kyrie Irving, Cam Thomas, and Joe Harris. And, this game was just rough. And this just proves alone to the Boston Celtics really are they really are that title contending team. They really are that team, in my opinion, that is the front runner that is going to get the title this season. Because you look at this team right now after tonight, they are still the number 1 seed, and they got the number 1 seed by a pretty decent margin. It's not really close. If you look online, you can see that the Boston Celtics tonight have a 37-15 record. And that is insane to even think about, that Boston has been performing that well. And people have been hurt this season. Yes, their superstars haven't been out. Jaylen Brown has missed a couple games. Jaylen Brown was out for a little while. He was out for a couple weeks with injury himself. Jason Tatum's only missed 4 or 5 games on the season. Both of them themselves have really not missed a ton of games. And yes, they've been very lucky when it comes to the injury bug. You look around at that team, a lot of major contributors haven't been hurt, or at least hurt for a super long time. Robert Williams, he was hurt from last season and messed himself up in the finals. He came back midway through this season. He's had a solid year so far. Obviously Robert Williams is there for that lob threat, that defense. He's kind of like a DeAndre Jordan back on the Clippers and all that stuff. That is pretty much what Robert Williams is for this team. He's an amazing player, and he's been really good. And you could make the argument for him being a potential defensive player of the year candidate. I mean, he even before the injury, he had that kind of potential. He has been that good for the Boston Celtics. And I mean, you just look at Boston's defense, it's crazy, man. You got Marcus Smart, who won the Defensive Player of the Year last year, by the way. And I mean, that right there is just the best defender in the league, according to voters, is Marcus Smart. I mean, you look at the rest of that team, man. You got Jaylen Brown, who's a plus defender. He's a really, really good defender. You look at Jason Tatum, a really, really good defender. You look at Al Horford, like a pretty decent defender. You look at Robert Williams, really good defender. Malcolm Brogdon, who isn't really that good of a defender, but he's provided a big-time spark off the bench for the Celtics. I mean, you could go on and on about their team, man. They are just so loaded. It's just ridiculous. I mean, like this team, like I don't foresee them losing in the finals unless, barring something major happens, or maybe some team comes to play come playoff time. Maybe Milwaukee starts getting everything going, starts clicking. Maybe people start coming back from injury for them, and they just start rolling. I mean, who knows with them? I mean, there's a lot going on that could happen. Maybe you look out west, maybe you see some team like Denver going at it, and they have a really good chance because Denver has Jokic, which 2-time MVP, arguably a 3rd-time MVP coming. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, there are teams that can compete with the Boston Celtics, but I really just genuinely don't think they will. I mean, you look at Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has been amazing the last 2 seasons. He's averaging 30-plus points per game this season. Arguably, in my opinion, I have Tatum as my front runner. He's like a 1A, and Jokic is like a 1B for me. And then I got like Embiid and Giannis. I mean, those guys have been incredible this season as is. Luka's down there as well. But you look at that team, and you look at the Celtics, and man, dude, just the stuff that they can do on the court and the stuff that the way they play, it's like this team has been playing together for a while now. I mean, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have been playing for 5 years at this point together, 4 years at this point together. I mean, they've been really, really good. Like, I mean, you look back, these guys have been playing together since Kyrie Irving was on the team. Kyrie Irving's been in Brooklyn for 3+ years at this point. So, I mean, these guys have experience playing together. Marcus Smart, been on the team for a while. Al Horford, he was on the team for a while. Took a different route, went to Philly, ended up getting traded to the Thunder. Thunder released him. He comes back, and he's been really good for him too. He had a really great season last season. This season, not getting as much minutes, but they got some more veterans. They got like Blake Griffin, who's on the end of the bench, doesn't play a ton, but when he does play, he does produce. He's a pretty decently valuable player. They got guys like, I mean, their guard depth is insane, man. You look at Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon. Oh, you even have Peyton Pritchard, despite like all of that stuff, or like despite him being like the 4th guard in that rotation, because you have Derek White as well. Peyton Pritchard is a really, really good point guard as well. And if you trade him to to like different teams, he is a very valuable player for different teams. He could be a very good backup point guard for some teams. I mean, you look at like their wings, and Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum as it is. That's a crazy pairing, man. And you have shooting off the bench. You have guys like Sam Hauser who could shoot the ball. You look at their bigs. You got Rob has had a pretty good season so far. And I mean, you got Al Horford on the bench, who's arguably one of the better backup bigs in the league. It's just Boston has so much depth and so much talent, and they have those guys now. Those guys they didn't really lose anybody this offseason. If anything, they gained talent. They got better. They traded for Malcolm Brogdon, and they gave up like Aaron Nesmith and like a first. Like, I mean, they got a crazy steal for Malcolm Brogdon. Yes, Malcolm Brogdon had some injuries in the past, and it made it a little bit harder, a little bit more difficult to trade for him, because, I mean, you didn't know what version of Malcolm Brogdon you're going to get. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon's really good, won the Rookie of the Year for Milwaukee, but, injuries have been the biggest part in him, man. He's only played like 50, 60+ games the last couple of seasons, so, that's a flyer, but that flyer has been playing out really, really well for the Celtics. He's provided a great scoring off the bench, and you could arguably make a candidacy for him being 6th man of the year. It's just, man, that team is just so talented. Like I don't see a world where they go down. I genuinely don't see a world where that happens. Now that they have that experience in the finals based off of last season, they're gonna come to play this time, and they're gonna come hit you like a truck. and it's not going to end well for a lot of teams. I mean, hell, even with Kevin Durant last season, Boston swept them in the playoffs. I mean, yes, like Ben Simmons or obviously didn't play last season, but I mean, Ben Simmons hasn't been amazing this season as it is. I don't think it's really going to matter a lot come playoff time. I think Boston really is just going to wipe the floor of the East. I mean, maybe Philly makes a good run, maybe Milwaukee makes a good run, but I don't foresee any of these teams really keeping it close with Boston. I think Boston's just going to wipe the floor, and they're going to get to the finals. And maybe someone like Dallas steps up, or maybe like Denver steps up, and maybe you get some team that comes out there and comes out fire, and then maybe they steal a couple games. But I think Boston has it this season. There's no doubt in my mind Boston has it this season. But I just wanted to say thank you for watching. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for all the love and support so far. I mean, it's fun making these videos, man. I enjoy doing it, and I may sound like a broken record saying it, but I truly appreciate even having the ability to be able to do this and having people that actually want to listen to me and like the content. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in that next video. Peace.